Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So what I ate this week series is literally one of the most popular things on this channel, and I took a little bit of a break from it because I thought the content was sort of getting boring, but so many of you reached out and asked me to do this again. So here I am back with a what I ate this week video, and this time I'm going to be sharing with you all the lunches that I had this week. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and let's begin. So for Monday, I had this delicious roll which I had to make because I was sort of in a rush and I wanted something really quick. So from my last night's dinner, I had these seekh kebabs left. I know I'm going to be sharing a recipe for all my kebabs very soon. Now for making the roll, I am chopping some raw vegetables. So what I'm using here is a capsicum. I'm using a very small piece of capsicum and I'm slicing it into very thin slices. And I'm also using a very small piece of an onion as well. Again, I'm going to make onion into small juliennes. Now for making the roll, I am using a very regular whole wheat paratha. So I'm going to make this paratha on the tawa like we make any usual paratha. If you want, you can also buy the ready-made tortilla rolls which are available in the stores. But making a paratha literally takes about 2 minutes of time, so why unnecessarily just buy stuff from stores? If you don't like having a paratha, or if you're watching your weight and you're being health conscious, then you can also replace the paratha with a roti. Now on the same tawa, I'm also going to add the 2 pieces of kebabs that I have left over from last night just to reheat them. These are already cooked kebabs, so I didn't have to spend a lot of time sort of cooking them completely, but I just had to sort of reheat them and get this nice golden color on top of it to make it look nice and crispy. Now after the kebabs are also done, I'm going to quickly start assembling the roll. So on the base of the roll, I'm adding a little bit of red chutney. You can use anything here. You can use a green chutney or mayonnaise or butter or anything that you like. Now for some greens, I'm adding spinach leaves. A lot of people don't like raw spinach, but I somehow love raw spinach. If you don't like raw spinach, you can always add lettuce as well. Next, I'm going to place the 2 pieces of seekh kebab onto the roll, and then I'll add the vegetables as well. So I'm going to add the sliced onions and also the julienned capsicum. For some added flavor, I'm also going to add a little bit of chili sauce. This is completely optional. You can add some chutney as well if you like. And then I'm just going to wrap this up and turn it into a roll. After the roll is ready, I always like to have this with a little bit of chili sauce because it just adds a nice kick to the whole roll. And that's it. The lunch for Monday is ready. Literally took me about 10-15 minutes to make this, and it is so delicious. Now moving on to Tuesday, I decided to make Sabudana Khichdi because so many of you wanted the recipe for this one, so here we go. For Sabudana Khichdi, first thing I'm going to do is chop up the potatoes. For these potatoes, I'm going to chop them into as small pieces as possible. You need to really chop them tiny. And I'm also using half a tomato. This is completely optional, you can skip it. For some additional spice, I'm also going to chop green chili, but if you don't like spicy food, you can skip that as well. And then I have these pre-soaked sabudana which I soaked for about 2 hours. Now to make the khichdi, I am going to take a pan in which I'm going to add a little bit of ghee. You can always use oil for this as well, but ghee just adds a very good flavor. Next, I'm going to add some cumin seeds to this. And I'm also going to add some peanuts. These are raw peanuts. Peanuts and cumin seeds together add a very good flavor to the sabudana khichdi, so make sure that you don't skip them. And then I'm going to go ahead and add these green chilies. Next, I'm going to add the tomatoes and the potatoes all together into the pan. Actually, if you'd like to significantly reduce the amount of time this recipe takes to make, you can just use boiled potatoes and you will save easily about 10 minutes. So just stir everything together, and at this point just use the lid and cover the pan and let this whole thing cook together for about 10 minutes. So after about 10 minutes, the tomatoes and the potatoes will become really soft, at which point we're just going to go ahead and add in the sabudana. The sabudana that I have is soaked for about 2 hours, but you can go ahead and soak it for slightly longer or maybe a little less time as well. Just mix the sabudana well with the masala and cover it with the lid and let it cook for about 5 more minutes. After about 5 minutes, sabudana will be completely ready. The only thing left to do will be adding some garnishing and some extra flavor. So for that, my favorite is coriander leaves. So I'm just going to quickly chop the coriander leaves into small pieces and I'm going to add that to the sabudana. And that's it, this delicious Sabudana Khichdi is ready. It's one of my absolute favorite things to eat, guys. You can have it for lunch, you can have it for breakfast, you can even pack it for lunch boxes for if you go to office or if you send your kids to school. It's just one of those amazing delicious meals. Now moving on to Wednesday. This Wednesday I actually had a meeting and I was in a rush, so I made the quickest sandwich possible. So for this, the first thing I'm going to do is take a tomato and I'm going to chop it into very fine slices. And then I'm going to take 2 slices of whole wheat bread, and on each slice I'm going to add a dressing. So on one slice I'm going to use this hummus. I usually make hummus at home, but I bought this one because it was a new brand and I wanted to try the taste of this one. Honest review, it's nothing great. Homemade hummus tastes much better. And on the other side, I'm going to put this gourmet jar red pepper pesto. This is my personal favorite and I actually bought it because I wanted to try and replicate the recipe for this one. I still haven't been able to do that perfectly, but as soon as I do it, I will try and share the recipe with all of you as well. You don't need to add the same spreads. You can add whatever, some chutney, mayonnaise, ketchup, whatever you like. And after this, I'm going to place the slices of tomatoes on this. And then I'm going to add a slice of cheese. Now this cheese tomato combination is delicious, guys. You have to try this, it's so amazing. You can add a little bit of salt as well, but cheese already has salt, so I don't mind having no salt on this. So in my toaster oven, I'm just going to quickly add a little bit of butter and place my bread on this. And in about 2 minutes, the sandwich is completely ready. On days when I'm running late, this is literally my go-to lunch because it takes about 5 minutes to make and it's so delicious, so filling, and absolutely one of my favorite things to eat. On Thursday, I had this fried rice. My mom-in-law taught me this recipe this time when she was here and I absolutely love it. So for this, first thing I'm going to do is put up some rice for cooking. I'm using basmati rice here, but you can use white rice, brown rice, any rice that you like. And I am going to add little less water than what we usually add because we want the rice to come out nice and bright. So I'm adding about 1.5 cups of water for 1 cup of rice, and I'm going to put it up on the gas to cook. And to start preparing for the masala, first thing I'm doing is crushing some garlic and some green chilies. Next, in a pan, I'm going to add a little bit of ghee. You can use oil as well, completely your choice. And then I'm going to add in the chili and the garlic paste. As soon as they release flavors, I'm going to add some mixed vegetables. Now the vegetables I have here are some carrots, some peas and some beans. These are vegetables that I always chop and keep in my refrigerator so that I can use it on days like this. And I'm going to add some vinegar, a little bit of soy sauce and a little bit of red chili sauce. These 3 things together are going to add such a good flavor to the fried rice. You don't need any other seasoning, you don't need anything else to add. Just for some extra flavor, I am going to go ahead and add a pinch of salt, but you can check for salt and see if you actually need it. Next, as soon as the rice is done, which it will be by the time we start preparing for all these vegetables, we're just going to quickly go ahead and transfer the rice to the pan. Mix the rice thoroughly with the masala. Ensure that the rice gets completely coated with all the vegetables and the sauces. And lastly, we're just going to add a little bit of coriander for garnish and the delicious fried rice is ready. I generally like having this fried rice as it is, but you can always have it with some curd or some other sauces. You can even make a little bit of a stir fry on the side and add it to the rice. But as it is, this is so delicious, so easy to make, super quick, literally takes 10 minutes. And I have to tell you guys, it's one of the best things my mom-in-law has taught me. Now for Friday, I made the quickest and the easiest and the shortest way of making chicken curry possible. So for this, I'm going to take about 100 grams of boneless chicken, to which I'm going to add some salt, some red chili powder. The chili powder that I'm using is Kashmiri red chili, but you can add regular lal mirch also. Next, I'm going to add a little bit of tandoori masala. If you'd like to see the recipe for this, I will leave a link to the video on top. Next, I'm going to add a teaspoon of ginger garlic paste and 2 teaspoons of dahi. Mix everything together and let the chicken get coated nicely with the rest of the marination, and let it sit on the side for about 10 minutes till we start doing rest of the preparation. Now for the rest of the preparation, only thing we actually need to do is chop some onions and some tomatoes. I'm using a very small onion here, just very roughly chopping it, and I've taken a medium tomato again, which I'm going to chop very roughly. For some added flavor, I'm also chopping some garlic, but you can always use garlic paste as well, completely up to you. Now to make this, I'm going to use a basic non-stick pan on which I'm going to add a little bit of ghee. Next, I'm going to drop in the garlic pods. And then I'll go ahead and add in the onions and the tomatoes. I'm going to drop everything together so that it is as quick as possible for me to make this recipe. Just stir everything together once for like a few seconds and then cover it with a lid and let it cook for about 5 to 6 minutes. After about 5-6 minutes, the onions and tomatoes and garlic will get a little mushy, at which point we're going to go ahead and drop in the marinated chicken. Now because the chicken already has all the masala and all the seasoning that we need to add, there's no need to add anything else. Just stir the chicken well with the onions and the tomatoes. Just add a splash of water and stir it well, mix everything together. And then cover it with the lid and let it cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. After about 15 minutes, this is how the chicken will be. It is almost completely done at this point and you can easily eat it like this. But I like to have a little bit of gravy along with it. So I'm just going to add a little splash of water again. Not too much, just a splash. I'm going to stir it well together and I'll still cover it with the lid and let it cook for a few more minutes. And while this is happening on the side, I'm quickly going to go ahead and chop in some coriander leaves. I'll add this to the chicken curry. And that's it. Chicken is ready. To go with that, I'm going to make myself a roti. You can have some parathas along with it. Trust me, parathas go the best with this chicken curry. And my roti hasn't turned out to be as appetizing as all of the other things in the video, but I'm not the best at making rotis. You guys already know that. So I'm going to quickly transfer the chicken as well to a bowl, and that's it. This delicious meal is ready. This chicken curry requires zero supervision. You just need to cover the lid, let the fire and the pan do its own job, and yeah, that's it. So these were all the lunches that I had this week. I hope you guys found this video useful. Do let me know which one was your favorite recipe, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time in my next video. Bye bye.